welcome back to the Maize Plus Pig Farm. And our first job is to sell some pigs, because in my rush through winter, I think, almost missed the point that we should have taken them to the butchers. I did have a panic that I thought I had missed the point that I should have sold them. But thanks to clarification on comments on the Vintage Oaks video, thank you for your help, commenter. I'm sorry, I've forgotten who it was, and I haven't got time to go check, so I'm just trying to get this done very quickly. But you know who you are. Thank you for your help. I believe I am actually spot on with the 6 months. Yeah, I got confused because I loaded the game up and I saw the 10 months and I thought I'd got it way too late. But yeah, we have a whole load that are ready to go and another batch that are going to be ready to go next month. So we're going to go get these butchered, and then we've got all the corn to get planted. So that's the job, main job for today. We've got a load of fields to get fertilised, or start getting fertilised as well. And we're going to have a look at the finances later on as well, because things are starting, well, they started to look up last time when we did them in February, but they're really starting to look up now that we are getting another batch of pigs butchered and meat in the freezer. It's really frustrating, actually. The price has a second peak and we just miss it. So March and beginning of April, the price is still good and we just miss it with how we're processing the meat. But that's okay. We'll leave it in the freezer until it gets good again, and we'll make a decent amount of cash, which will be nice. So yeah, lots of corn to plant, but that means as I've said, we are going to be ending this series probably with the last sale of pork later in the year. But we'll be in a position where we could have expanded even more beyond that. And that's why we're planting lots of corn. So yeah. And we'll be in a good position, I think. So in theory, once we've planted the corn here, we could start selling a lot of the kit that we have. I'm not going to, because I want to leave this farm as a viable farm that could go forwards. I tend to prefer doing that. So even when I end a save, even when it's an intentional end, I generally don't do the sell as you finish using kit, because I like to leave them as viable farms. So we did sell the windrower, but that's because we'd never actually needed to buy it. But yeah, so we've got our 14 breeding sows who have recently had piglets. So we've got the 75 female and the 59 male piglets. And we've got a few more that will soon be ready to take to sell. I think next month we've got more that we can take. So I'm going to hang on to the trailer until May. Yeah, sorry. Very busy day today. Slightly flustered, but want to try and get this video done to keep the content flowing, keep the algorithm fed, and keep the channel going. It's my hobby, helps me relax. Yeah. So just doing this quickly in my lunch break. Here you can see that the price had peaked in April, but it's already started to drop. So we missed that not really good price, but decent price. So anyway, let's get some corn planted. So I'm going to manually plant the two smaller fields that are getting corn, and then I'm going to let Courseplay do the bigger field while I do a few other jobs. That seems like a sensible idea to me. And it let me get a few other things done, and meant it didn't take forever to make this video. in the UK, it's still stupidly hot. It was supposed to be, so yesterday it got to, on the thermometer that I have outside, not a calibrated thermometer, obviously, it got to like 36 degrees outside temperature. It's currently 27 degrees outside and 29 degrees inside. It's, yeah, not the nicest. It's quite a busy day. And as I've been whinging about for the last few weeks, I don't like the heat particularly. My brain does not like the constant change in temperature and stuff. And so far today's not been great headaches. So I started the day with the kaleidoscope vision that I get when my head's bad. I had ringing in the ears and all of the fun stuff. And I've got kind of a jabby sensation in my brain at the moment. So yeah, not enjoying it, and I've had a very busy morning at work. I have quite a busy afternoon at work lined up as well. And then I'm in the office tomorrow, so yeah. I suspect this week's going to be quite patchy for videos. But that's just the way it is when things get busy in the real world, you know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think it's going to be quite patchy for content this week. Already missed Monday video because I honestly didn't get much done. Usually I'll make a video. Usually I'll finish a video on a Sunday afternoon. I did a heck of a lot of running over the weekend and I fell asleep almost all of Sunday afternoon. In fact, I fell asleep from not long after I got home from running on Sunday until Sunday lunchtime. I did a little bit of stuff on Sunday afternoon and then I fell asleep again. Yeah. I was very tired. Yeah, and annoyingly, so it was supposed to be cooler today. And so I decided I didn't get up early this morning to go running because it was supposed to be cooler. And it's not. And that means I'm probably not going to go running because my head's bad now. I'm probably not going to go running this afternoon. So, yeah. And I've got to go into work tomorrow. So I'm not going to go running tomorrow, which is going to limit my running for the week. So, yeah, not so good. On the plus side, my car's fixed. Yay. And it wasn't as expensive as I had expected. So that's cool. Didn't take as long as I expected it might as well. I always hate taking my car to be repaired because you never know whether it's going to be the job you think it's going to be. Or, you know, they find something significantly worse wrong. I drive quite an old car. It's, oh God, it was a 15-year-old car now. And yeah, I always worry that it's going to be something more than you think it is. Turns out it was exactly what I thought it was. And it turns out it was maybe not as bad a job as I thought it was for them to sort it. So that was good. That was good. I use a local garage, which is not a main dealer or anything like that, so they're usually really good for that kind of thing. So yeah, that was cool. It would be nice not to have the car beep at me every time I start it because it's got an engine warning light on. So yeah, that'll be nice, and it'll be nicer to drive as well because it won't be like mostly going into limp mode pretty quickly. So, yeah. I saw something the other day. So if you're not from the UK, I'll explain a little bit. I think most countries have, you know, number plates or registration plates on vehicles. I don't know if in every country, but in the UK, they have a pretty strict format that they have to abide by to actually be legal. And I saw somewhere advertising 4D number plates. Now, you know, you've got your 3 dimensions, you've got your X and Y, and if you stick to those 2 dimensions and the correct format and spacing, you have a legal number plate. And then these number plates looked 3-dimensional, so the letters were thick and stood away from the number plate, making them illegal because it's not the standard format. So I assume that the 4th dimension that came with that number plate was the time you were going to lose explaining to the police officer why you had an illegal number plate, and then the time you were going to spend going to buy a legal number plate, and dealing with paying the fine that you had for having your illegal number plate, and all those other fun things that came with your fourth dimension on your number plate. Yeah, that or the garage that were advertising didn't understand dimensionality, and that the Z-plane on their number plate was in fact a third dimension, not a fourth one. I don't know. I didn't go and ask them, but you know, these are the kind of things that your brain ponders sometimes when you have a brain like mine. Yeah. The joys of living in Essex, I guess, where people want to customise their cars and make themselves illegal and spend time explaining to the police why they want an illegal number plate. Anywho, so first field planted. Second field is even smaller, even quicker. I think it was like 6 rows or something like that. It was, yeah, very quick job. Really won't take that long to get done. We do need some more seed. So I think this planter, if I was continuing, would have benefited from having a seed box on the front. I know it's not realistic, but hey, realism is not always key. It certainly doesn't have realistic fertilizer use. The fertilizer on this thing lasts forever. It doesn't feel like it's realistic anyway to me. You can plant a huge amount of ground and use very little fertilizer. I've not looked. Pretty sure it's base game, but it doesn't feel like very realistic fertilizer use to me. I'm not complaining. It's quite nice, but you know, means it's much more efficient to get the job done. So obviously once the corn's planted, as I said, the last crop to go in the ground, we've got some fertilizing to do. Once all the crops are fertilized, it'll just be a case of making sure I sell the pigs when I need to, making sure they're fed, and progressing through to harvest. Now the wheat harvest is going to come up fairly early, I suspect, and that'll be good because we're getting a bit low on straw. Again, if I was continuing with this, probably what I would be thinking about doing is running some harvesting contracts to pick up the straw. And if I was playing this not in the way that I am, where I'm so strictly worried about income and things, I'd be running wheat harvesting contracts just to get the wheat to feed the pigs, you know. Seems like a perfectly sensible thing to do to me, just because of the way I was approaching this when we did the harvesting contract. Probably actually still got it in the silo. We did a barley contract and haven't used that grain and didn't take any money for doing the job. Literally just wanted the straw because we didn't have a straw crop. But this year we do, so we shouldn't need to do that. Although we might need more straw because pigs use quite a lot of straw. Anywho, let's get cosplay set up. I think I then end up rolling these fields, mainly maximizing yielding it. Normally, I wouldn't roll a cornfield because I like the planted texture. I actually did a bunch of Googling about whether farmers will roll crops like corn and sugar beet, and it varied a lot from what I saw. It varied a lot, really depending on soil type and soil moisture levels and that kind of thing. So yeah, watch the noob setup cosplay. It was very, very variable. A lot of that information seemed to be based in the US as well, rather than Europe or the UK. So I do know rolling is a thing in the UK because the farmer near me rolls pretty much all of their fields, but actually they plant a fair bit of corn. I've never seen if they roll the corn that they plant because I've never seen them planting corn. Yeah, they've got a lot of corn planted this year. So I am going to go grab the Fiat and the roller. I think that's what I do next, and get these fields rolling. Yep. And I think in a break from tradition, while we do that, I'm actually going to start talking about the finances because I want to try and keep this video somewhat shorter. So I'm just making some notes for when I edit things. So yeah, up on the screen now, I'll have the finances over the background whilst we're doing the rolling and stuff. So I run the game forward at the end to midnight on April 2nd. So we spent the £96,500 on the new tractor, obviously, in the period. That's a big change. About $2,500 on leasing kit, so it's things like this roller that we're using in the background. A couple of grand on maintenance, quite a bit on fertilizer. We've got some fertilizing to do. I do end up leasing a fertilizer spreader as well. Yeah, fair bit on water as well. We make some stuff back on selling the windrower, as I mentioned. BGA income is down a bit because I got a bit lazy in April and I didn't take the manure and slurry to the BGA. So next time around it'll be up a bit because we've got a fair bit in the slurry tank and in the manure pit. I just couldn't be bothered to take it, basically. So looking at kind of the summary at the bottom, obviously we've spent some more cash, got a bit less cash in the bank as well. But to counter that, at the moment we've got more pigs in the shed, or more value of pigs in the shed. Equipment value's gone up because we brought another tractor. Building value's dropped a bit. We've got about, from the pigs that we took to the butchery, we've got just over 55 grand's worth of pork in the freezer. And that means overall our total assets have gone up by nearly 9 grand, which means we're only a couple of grand away from the £1.5 million that we started with. So we've almost broken even, which is pretty awesome, I think, to be. So when we do the next pork delivery, unless I screw things up, we're going to be in profit by a reasonable way. And I'm really pleased with that. So yeah, obviously doing things in a bit of a different order. I'm trying to condense the video a bit. It's a relatively long video. Anyway, if I did the waffling about the accounts at the end, it would have been a good 30+ minute video. And while some of you enjoy that, I wanted to try and keep it a little bit shorter. So squeezed these in the middle. So back to the gameplay. I've just leased this fert spreader. And we're going to get some of the crops fertilized that we need to get fertilized. So the wheat field, part of it's fertilized because I tried to spread digestate. It didn't have enough, so part of it's got a part application of fertilizer on it. So we'll get that sorted while Causeplay keeps working on doing the big cornfield. Also, we'll say thank you to the patrons and the YouTube channel members. Appreciate you guys supporting the channel. You are all awesome. And at the same time, if anyone's thinking about picking up a copy of FS22, then don't forget to use my Giants partner code. We are now either just about three copies of the full with season pass edition of the game, or about 4 copies of the normal game away from bronze partner. So yeah, if you want to help make that happen, then think about pre-ordering the game. Not too far away now, and as I mentioned in another video a little while ago, I am thinking about doing a giveaway soon. Just working out the details in my head about how that's going to work. I've got a few things I need to test. So yeah, coming soon. Maybe depends. I need to have the time to get it all organised and stuff. It might be next month. Things are kind of mentally busy at the moment in work and life. So yeah, soon, very soon. Yeah, so getting the wheat fertilised is kind of the priority, because that's going to be the field that's ready to harvest earliest, and is quite important because it's got a straw crop on it, and straw yield is affected by fertilisation, so need to get that done. You see there's a patch that needs another application. That was the bit that didn't get digestate on it. This crop needs to grow before we can fertilise it, but we should be able to do the sugar beet and the other wheat field. So yep, it'll just be that little patch of the wheat field and the corn that we'll need. The corn's already got a single application, so yeah, it'll be pretty good. We need to get some seed to put in the planter as well. But we're making good progress on getting through this. So, and the course that I set up mostly did a pretty good job. These little finger bits on the field, Courseplay doesn't really like. So, yeah. Ends up being a bit messy. Not the best shape field for Courseplay, really. You can see where I've just flashed the course up. It ends up doing them as lots of little short backwards and forwards, and they're not great. Not great for Courseplay at all. But as it let me do the rolling and the fertilizing while Courseplay did the planting, and it was more efficient. I did consider leasing a bigger planter, but the only option was whichever one it is which fixes on the 3-point on the back. And I was worried that we were going to get lots of issues with missed bits, because the fields here, as we can see as we come up to this bit, are quite undulating, and that undulation might have meant that it just didn't work very well. So I went with the just let Courseplay do its job. I figured that was easier than the frustration of dealing with loads of missed bits and having to go back either with the smaller one anyway to patch it, or yeah. That just seemed like a more efficient way to do the job. So yeah, I suspect next time will be, I think in May I should be able to finish the fertilizing. So hopefully that'll be the plan. Once I've got that finished, it'll just be a case of progressing to harvest and getting the harvest done. We've got pigs to sell in May as well, or butcher, not sell. And with the butchery, it'll be a case of waiting then for the price to return. That's going to be much later in the year. I don't know what I'm going to do with once we've stopped, but we've got to wait for the price. I don't know what I'm going to do with the pigs, and I might stop. I might get rid of them so that we can. I might stop and just work out the value based on the price we can expect to get. I might do that. Anyway, that's fertilizing done. I've stopped Courseplay because so it's done the finger that's in front of us, but the other one still needs to be done. I stopped Courseplay doing that to save a bunch of time. I skipped it ahead, and I'm just going to go and do it manually because I think it saved about 20 minutes on the Courseplay course. It was ridiculous for this little tiny bit of the field. It was just going to go backwards and forwards about 10 times. Yeah, it was stupid. So I did it myself. It was much quicker. And I'm all for efficiency. So, yeah. That's it. Planting on here is done. I say, not going to go beyond this year with this save. I am working to condense things down so we can focus and progress all of the other saves that we've got going with the time that's left before FS25 comes out. I'm kind of yeah, it's not that I'm not enjoying this save. I just want to make progress on all of the other ones as well. We've done the job on here, really. We've shown that you can make good money with pigs or with Maize Plus. Very dependent on that butcher mod, though. So, yep. Anyway, if you've enjoyed the video, think about clicking that little like button. Comments, questions, or suggestions are welcome. They really do help me out. Things like, you know, I had forgotten at what point I should be butchering the pigs, and the comment section really saved me. It saved me going back and watching a bunch of my own videos, which I was planning to do. Yeah. So we'll just do this last little bit, and we'll call it a day. I have to admit, as I've said it a few times, I really, really do like Kale's maps, and I really, really do hope that he brings them to FS25. I probably will do some more significant Let's Plays on them on the main channel. I've done one on Patreon, which I really enjoyed, but I've really only used them for kind of experimental stuff on the channel. So yeah, there will be more of his maps for real Let's Plays rather than things like this, which is kind of more of a mini series. I was just checking the price of pork, and it has indeed dropped. So as I said, we will be waiting for it to come back up much later in the year. Anyway, I will see you on here next time.